This is Punk Rock and Politics, and today is May 15th, 2018, and this is episode number 63. Let's do this.
These days are strange, it's true.
I would bomb the shit out of them.
If you think that punk rock doesn't mix with politics, you're wrong.
Welcome to Punk Rock and Politics. Today we'll be talking with the Arizona-based band No Refills about their Southern California tour, guns, the March for Our Lives, and the importance of listening to other people's perspectives.
Because you always have to be open to the other side's point of view. Always. Because, what if you're wrong?
Then on Open Mic's Last Call, we'll talk about why I feel like a complete hypocrite, constantly advocating for others to get politically active and what I'm doing to change that. All that and more on today's episode. So let's get to the political mosh pit. But first, here's the news of the week.
Here's what's making news.
Today we officially opened Embassy in Jerusalem. Congratulations.
Despite widespread criticism from the international community and our allies, President Trump pulls out of the Iran deal and he says he'll reinstate sanctions.
In 2015, the previous administration joined with other nations in a deal regarding Iran's nuclear program. This agreement was known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. In theory, the so-called Iran deal was supposed to protect the United States and our allies from the lunacy of an Iranian nuclear bomb. I will sign a presidential memorandum to begin reinstating U.S. nuclear sanctions on the Iranian regime. We will be instituting the highest level of economic sanction. Any nation that helps Iran in its quest for nuclear weapons could also be strongly sanctioned by the United States.
The 2015 Iran deal was signed by former President Obama with widespread international support, which obligated Iran to halt their weapons programs in exchange for the U.S. to lift sanctions. Acting CIA Director Gina Haspel met with Congress in order to seek to become confirmed as the next head of the CIA. Haspel oversaw the torture program under President Bush and even deleted video evidence of the U.S. military conducting torture. In her Senate confirmation hearings, she refused to say that torture was immoral. Here is California Senator Kamala Harris questioning the war criminal Gina Haspel.
So, one question I've not heard you answer is, do you believe that the previous interrogation techniques were immoral?
Senator, I believe that CIA officers to whom you referred...
It's a yes or no answer. Do you believe the previous interrogation techniques were immoral? I'm not asking do you believe they were legal. I'm asking do you believe they were immoral?
Senator, I believe that CIA did extraordinary work to prevent another attack on this country given the legal tools that we were authorized to use.
Please answer yes or no. Do you believe in hindsight that those techniques were immoral?
Senator, what I believe sitting here today is that I support the higher moral standard we have decided to hold ourselves to.
Can you please answer the question?
Senator, I think I've answered the question.
No, you've not. Do you believe the previous techniques, now armed with hindsight, do you believe they were immoral? Yes or no?
Senator, I believe that we should hold ourselves to the moral standard outlined in the Army Field Manual.
Okay, so I understand that you've not answered the question, but I'm going to move on. So I understand that you, from previous answers, are serving as the authority over whether or not CIA information concerning you will be classified or not. Given an obvious appearance of conflict, will you agree to recuse yourself from the responsibility and the authority to make decisions about whether or not that information will be classified or not. Will you agree to recuse yourself of that responsibility and authority? Yes or no?
Senator, I am following the guidelines that exist at CIA, and there is another declassification authority. It's called the IRO. I have not interfered with
Do you believe that you have the authority to recuse yourself?
I'll take that for the record. I may have the authority to recuse myself.
Assuming
I'm not a
you
lawyer.
do.
I'm not sure about that.
Assuming you do, and I believe you do, will you agree to recuse yourself from the responsibility and the authority of making decisions about what CIA information about you and your record will be classified or declassified?
Senator, if I had agreed with the proposals that have come up because people thought it would be advantageous to me, I think I would have been abdicating my responsibility to follow the rules that everyone at CIA follows.
North Korea releases 3 U.S. citizens who have been held captive, and President Trump sets the date of June 12th in Singapore, where the two will officially meet. Let's hope this can bring peace to the Korean Peninsula. Those are the sounds of Israeli forces killing dozens of protesters on the Gaza border as Palestinians protest the move of the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem. May 15th marks the anniversary of the 1948 Palestinian Exodus, where over 700,000 Palestinians fled and were expelled from their homes during the 1948 Palestinian War. And President Trump, in his typical nepotism fashion, sent his daughter Ivanka Trump to open the embassy. The 15th of May always has widespread protests due to the significance of this date, so the timing of the opening of this embassy cannot be a coincidence. Here's Ivanka Trump in Jerusalem.
On behalf of the 45th President of the United States of America, we welcome you officially and for the first time to the Embassy of the United States here in Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Thank you.
Also, in typical game show host fashion, President Trump sent a video of himself talking about the opening of the embassy. Here's President Trump on a video that he sent to Jerusalem.
Today we officially opened the United States Embassy in Jerusalem. Congratulations. It's been a long time coming. Almost immediately after declaring statehood in 1948, Israel designated the city of Jerusalem as its capital. The capital the Jewish people established in ancient times. So important. Today, Jerusalem is the seat of Israel's government. It is the home of the Israeli legislature and the Israeli Supreme Court and Israel's prime minister and president. Israel is a sovereign nation with the right, like every other sovereign nation, to determine its own capital. Yet for many years we failed to acknowledge the obvious, the plain reality that Israel's capital is Jerusalem. On December 6, 2017, at my direction, the United States finally and officially recognized Jerusalem as the true capital of Israel. Today we follow through on this recognition and open our embassy in the historic and sacred land of Jerusalem.
And on this day in rock history, May 15th, 1997, rock and roll gold digger Courtney Love sold the Seattle mansion she shared with Kurt Cobain from Nirvana for $3 million. But hey, any way to profit off of a death of a rock legend, right? And that's the news of the week. What is up, my fellow political junkies? And one of my favorite things of the Punk Rock and Politics podcast is meeting new bands and, well, of course, talking about politics. But sometimes I get to reconnect with old friends who are now rocking out in their own band. And on today's episode, I get to do just that with No Refills. I've known the drummer, Adam West, from No Refills for several years now, and anytime I'm lucky enough to be in the same city as him, I'm always down to support his band, and it just so happened that No Refills played a set here in San Diego, California, at a dive bar called The Blonde. No Refills are a pop-punk band based out of Tempe, Arizona, but don't let the pop-punk title scare you, because they are more than just your classic pop-punk band, fart jokes, and immature humor, which I personally love. But their music is more complex than a simple pop-punk band. Their guitar riffs have a deeper sound that creates a more emotional feeling and some solid bass riffs, and of course some great drum fills to pull it all together. Tyler, the lead singer, can sing in depth about complex, emotional issues heard in such songs as Taking the Heat, but then seamlessly sing an amazingly hilarious song about, well, your mom. And in my opinion, that's why I dig No Refills so much. And I have been trying to get them on the podcast for some time, but they always insisted that they weren't very political. But as you'll hear in the interview, they are more political than they give themselves credit for, and they definitely embody the DIY punk mentality. But before we get to the interview, let's check out one of their songs. Here's LA Days by No Refills. That was LA Days by No Refills, and I actually have the guys and girl from No Refills here. What's up, everyone? How's it going?
What's up?
Good, hi.
Hey, give me the mic. I'll talk, why not?
We're live here in San Diego. You guys are from Arizona, so you made the trip all the way out here, so it's pretty cool. You're in my neck of the woods out here.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to be out in San Diego. Happy to get out of LA for a bit. I have some friends here at least, so...
Hell yeah. All right. Well, before we get to this, let's have everyone introduce themselves and what they do and just pass the mic around. And so we can do a name with a voice.
Oh, I'm Adam West. I'm the drummer for No Refills.
I am Tyler. I am the singer and guitarist.
I'm Alex Saint. I'm one of the guitarists.
And Matthew over on bass. Sometimes I add vocals.
Awesome. Well, and like we were saying a second ago, you guys are actually on tour. You're wrapping up your Southern California tour right now in San Diego. So how is the tour going so far?
Oh, it's been fun. You have to roll with the punches, of course. Things go wrong, things go right. You just got to make the most of the wrong so the right is that much better. And I think we've done a good job with that so far this week.
Are you writing a song right now?
That's what I do. Write lyrics during podcasts.
It's very poetic right there, you know. Some
That's what I go for.
Deep thoughts. So any interesting stories or anything, like what's some of the punches that you had to roll with?
What are those punches?
All right, so I got a punch. So we took a train the first day. And we took a train down to Venice and Santa Monica. So we walked from Santa Monica to Venice, and then we were just hanging out, you know, and we realized like we had to be at a show real soon. So we ran from Venice to Santa Monica to the train station, from the train station to the place where we were staying. We got lost, so we ran for like 4 miles. We all still feel it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in pain right now. I don't know how you feel, Tyler.
But we made
Better than yesterday.
Well, that's what counts. That you made it and you were able to play the show and everything. Fuck yeah. Awesome. Good. So yeah, there's always a lot of ups and downs when it comes to tours. So that's really good to hear. But you had 4 shows so far, all throughout Southern California. But other than that, everything's been golden, huh?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We've been at Big Bear, LA, Santa Clarita, back down here. So it's been a nice change of scenery, at least from Phoenix.
Cool. Yeah, right? Especially compared to Phoenix. It's kind of hot out there right now, right? A little bit?
Always.
Yeah, always, right? Cool. Well, all right. Let's get into one more song, and then we'll get to the political mosh bit. Here's another song by No Free Refills. Here's Just by No Refills.
I'm running just to run away
right. And that was Just by No Refills. All right, let's get to the political mosh pit. So, right now there's a lot of stuff going on with marches and voter turnout, and it's a very political climate, let's just say, in our country right now. So what's some of your guys' thoughts right now on kind of people getting out and voting and getting more political?
I mean, one of the big things with pop punk music is getting political, getting voices heard, and we've been following a lot of the movements going on, a lot of the marches, whether it's, gun control, getting teachers better wages, and we're just excited to see voices being heard, and we hope that it continues into elections because, as a lot of you know, when we get very active and our voices are heard, we tend not to go vote because we just assume everything will go as we plan, and that's not always the case, as some of us know right now with what's happening in the country.
Yeah, exactly. And because I was actually talking to this about with another dude on an episode, another guy who does a podcast, Mike, with Punks for Progress. And we were talking about how with the Parkland shooting and everything, there's the high school kids. They've become politically active. And we've never really seen that before with victims from a mass shooting. And I think that's kind of been a big catalyst in order to get people active and keep the conversation going so it doesn't just become, I like and share this post and then it all goes away. So you feel like these marches and everything is doing something rather than not?
I hope so. I'm Canadian. I was raised in a household that with the Parkland shooting, no guns, this and that. We have a very biased view towards it. Whereas, Adam in the band, he's the complete opposite. So we have a lot of fun being able to discuss these topics and look at different angles of it and kind of find middle ground in, where we should go. And yeah, we kind of hope the same with people who are getting involved. You have to kind of give in to certain sides and agree with things. Otherwise, nothing gets done.
Exactly. And that's kind of one of my main points here on the podcast. We have listeners who are libertarians, far left, progressives, and the whole spectrum. So I always try to bring and bridge the gap. And Adam West over here, not the dude from the original Batman series. This is Adam West, the badass drummer in the band No Refills. I actually met him. We've been good friends for a long time. That's how I know the band No Refills, and I'm honored to be able to come out and see them play for like the second time now. But yeah, living out in Arizona, I was very kind of anti-gun, being raised here in San Diego and everything, but living out in Arizona, you see the gun culture, and it really made a different impact on me. So you want to delve into that a little bit, man?
I mean, I was obviously raised in Arizona. My family all had guns. They handed guns down to me. I keep them around home defense. I hope to never use them in my lifetime for the most part, besides go out and do a little bit of target shooting. But really, it just comes down to education with them. I was brought up at an early age knowing to respect the dangers of guns, what they can do. Never point a gun at somebody if you're not willing to kill them at that point. And
I think that's a good lesson.
Yeah, it really is. I mean,
especially out in Arizona, if you point a gun at someone else, they'll probably have one that they'll shoot you with it.
Yeah,
I mean,
everyone's
packing out there almost. Yeah. Which that's a very different mind state than here in California, where I would imagine out in Canada. Is it even legal? Canada? Are guns even legal out there?
So,
what's the rule?
A lot of people think there's just zero guns in Canada, and that's not the case. There are very strict laws behind the guns, but they're still there. We just don't see the mass shootings up there and the issues that we see down here. And I think a big part of that is we need to look at the sides of it. Why are certain things happening in this country and not in others? Because there's a lot more behind it than just mental illness or lack of education, like Adam's saying. There's a lot of different variables in there. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of the talk that we're finally starting to have, and which a lot of the younger generation's been trying to get, is where is the middle ground? What should we do? What can we do? What's feasible? For example, Australia, they had this big buyback program, and everyone's like, oh, we need to do that. But if you look at it on paper, the United States can't afford to do that. They can't buy back all these guns in circulation.
Yeah, because that doesn't work. There's more guns in circulation than there are American citizens, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So it's too difficult. So it's like, okay, we have to, that was a good plan. It worked here. It doesn't work in this country. So what does work? And part of it is bringing up points like that. And, where do we go from here?
Right. And you guys were saying you're like a pop punk band. So, I talk to a lot of bands. They're kind of like, we're not that political and everything. So I'd like to ask, what do you guys think? Does punk rock mix with politics?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just that's not our bag, man.
Yeah, no, I know. But, I got to get you guys on here and get you outside of your comfort zone. And I'm happy you guys were able to do the interview and everything. So back to like the marches and everything. What's some of the big impacts do you think, that the marches are having on society?
I'm not really sure. I mean, yeah, they make the news and they get themselves known, but then I haven't seen much change from those marches. I've only seen, oh, hey, there's a march happening here, and then that's it. You don't hear anything else past that. And so far, I mean, I don't know. There might be some behind the works that I'm not seeing, but other than that, I'm not seeing any.
Exactly. I totally agree, because we have so many marches. We have the anti-Trump march, and then we have the women's march, and then we have these gun marches. And I'm all for marching. I'm all for political activism. But just like you said, we need to see action. So other than voting, I know you guys were saying voting is a big deal. What can we do, as you guys, as musicians, as a voice, what can we do to actually push this change, do you think?
Well, as musicians, the easy answer is write lyrics about it. But that's not always, the most feasible thing. A big thing in education right now, there's this movement called Red for Ed, and it's to increase minimum wage for teachers because we are not paid very well as teachers. So, we're trying to fix that. And I think with that one, we're not going to be watching to Washington asking for things. It doesn't work for that. It's more so getting the voice out there so they can talk about it.
Yes. And this is a big issue in Arizona because we've had the marches or the walkouts, I believe, in Oklahoma and Kansas. And it's in Arizona, the teachers went on strike, right? Actually, for lack of pay.
Yeah, it was all over the news for a while. I was really excited. I mean, I even went and changed my Facebook photo to Red for Ed, the little, temporary thing that they have, because it may not do much, but I like people to know what I stand for still.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's so crazy how we pay teachers so little. And I think teaching and teachers' education, that's one of the most important jobs in our society because, if we have a society full of idiots, I mean, that's, that's not a good road to go down.
We can only progress so much with idiots.
It may be fun, but yeah, it's, we can't get anywhere. Kind of like idiocracy, is what brings up to my mind. So, where do we go from here, guys? Let's do it. Like you were saying, we want to bring together Adam. He's, enjoys guns. You don't. What can we do to bring people together?
So I think the biggest thing right now is you look at people who have different sides on arguments. It can be anything. You can look at abortion, gun control, whatever a big topic is that gets heated. And okay, the biggest thing you can look at is social media, and you can look at people's responses to each other, and they just attack, and they're not willing to talk. They just want to voice their opinion and shut everything else down. And I think a big thing is you need to be willing to listen to the other side of what you believe in and see why they think that way and how it compares to what you're doing. And be able to see, why does this person think this way? Why do I think this way? Not necessarily who's right and who's wrong, but, how can we make it work for both of us? Because there's a lot of people in this world,
Yeah.
Not everyone's going to agree with me. For example, Adam does not.
No, never going to fully agree on anything, but that's where we really just have to find the common ground on something. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to be willing to give up some of what you believe in to find something that works with everybody. You get far on one side, far on the other, and with one person being completely right or completely happy, the other person's just completely out of it. It's finding that common ground, finding something that will work.
Yeah, and back to Facebook and everything, people will block someone or defriend them if they don't agree with them. That's kind of the...
I'm guilty of it.
I really, it's kind of like that's the first response that a lot of people want to do. They're like, well, I don't want to hear this person's opinion. I'm just going to shut them out or block them. And, it goes down to family members or really, really close friends. And I think that's kind of unfortunate.
Yeah, it's unfortunate how many closed-minded people there are out there not willing to listen, just want to be heard. And unfortunately, it's just kind of a common thing for people just to want to talk.
And on that subject, I almost think that, and this may be offensive, but it almost seems like it's American to be stuck in your own way and not want to listen to the other sides. Like it's so left and right. It's so black and white. There's no in between. And people on. Oh, is your hand opening? Oh my God.
Alex wants to talk. Well, I was going to counter that because I've actually seen the exact opposite. My sister, who's still in high school right now, she has actually been involved in a lot of like the walkouts and marches and protests and stuff about guns and or teacher pay. And if anything, it's actually brought our community together where we live. Some teachers have even like offered like extra credit to some projects that are like, look, this is something that's really important, and whether you like, as long as you stand your ground or whatever, like you'll get some extra credit. Like as long as you make your name and your voice and what you need heard, like that's beneficial to society, whether you're on this side or that side. So it's actually really cool that the teachers that I've seen, at least from my old high school that my sister still attends, they're like really actively involved in it and like wanting to encourage the kids to stand up for themselves and get themselves protected and stuff. So,
but if that's the only thing they're taught, like, because you always have to be open to the other side's point of view, always, because like, what if you're wrong?
Yeah.
You're wrong. No, not you. Not you. Actually, there's a really good Manchester Orchestra song. That simple math. Look it up. It means what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I totally. I think that's a. I think that's a great point.
I wish I got credit in school for protesting. I just got in trouble for it.
Well,
I wanted my voice heard, and I was shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm glad things are changing for the better that way.
I was just going to go down this path because Columbine, actually, it was just 420 the other day, and that was the 19th anniversary of Columbine. And that's kind of where this idea of mass shootings and, schools being shot up really kind of became big in our society. And like you said, back in the day, if you did protest, if you were outspoken, and when I went to high school, they really shut you down. They didn't want people to do that. But now schools are actually allowing students to do these protests, allowing them to do these walkouts. So I guess that is a lot of progress, especially in red Arizona, right?
Yeah, exactly. And, on Arizona, the household I grew up in, different environment. I was that awkward student who kind of just stood during the Pledge of Allegiance every day. I didn't put my hand over my heart. I didn't really understand why everyone was doing it. And now looking back at what happened this year in the NFL and stuff, all these protests, and it's a similar thing. Like people aren't, standing for the national anthem, and it's just funny to see things that were so, hush, hush, don't talk about this, don't do this. And now all of a sudden it's becoming, they're accepting the voice there. They're accepting people that are protesting and want to be heard. And although there's a lot of negativity around it, at least there's a discussion. Mm-hmm. And we missed that before. That wasn't happening 10 years ago.
Well, and the problem with, at least with the gun marches and everything, we're actually having a debate. Do we want common sense gun reform? Do we need to get rid of guns? But with the NFL and with that, I found people get so triggered over that. They just get mad that he's kneeling and they don't want to know why they're kneeling. They just think he's disrespecting America to be an asshole, but they don't want to go into it's because of police brutality. And that's why he's doing it. And that discussion isn't even happening.
Yeah, and I have neighbors who, my whole cul-de-sac, they won't watch the NFL anymore because of what's going on. And then there's me on the complete other end of, why does this matter? It shouldn't even be played in the first place. It's a sport. I know it's tradition, but why is it tradition? So it's funny, we have completely different sides, and they're just like, oh, damn liberals. And we make jokes about it because you have to be neighborly.
Yeah. No, well, the NFL has had a huge hit, actually. The numbers, they've gone down over the last couple seasons, and a lot of people are contributing it to the concussions and a lot of the injuries, and a lot of people are also saying because Kaepernick, and people aren't watching it because they feel like the NFL is being unpatriotic. But I think that's a really good point. Why did we start doing the national anthem and doing that before games? Like, when it's become such a polarized thing, and it's kind of like we should have sports as something that unites us. Kind of like punk rock music, right?
Yeah. And don't ask me on any of the NFL stuff. I've just never contributed to any of that. I don't get it myself, so.
Yeah. So yeah, Adam is super trendy. He's been ahead of the curve banning the NFL before everyone else. So, you've been ahead of the curve, dude. It's super trendy right there. Yeah,
he was doing it before it was cool.
Exactly. Just like everything, right?
I don't like any of that foosball.
Total hipster. Awesome. Well, guys, good luck with tour. I'm glad that we're able to talk and everything. And I know you have a show that you got to get to. I'll let you get to the show and everything. But before I let you go, I need to know what's the best place for everyone to find your music online?
So we are most active on our Facebook page. We are now learning how to use Instagram. thanks to Alex, because she's pro at that. And so we're getting more active on there. Obviously, you can find our music, SoundCloud, Google Play, Spotify. If you have it, we have it. You can find us on there. It's just whether or not we're super active on it.
Right.
And we're slowly getting better. We're finding out how to... You post on one site and it posts on the other automatically. We're starting to figure that whole thing out.
That saves a lot of time.
It does. You have to go repost.
It's so overwhelming because you guys are an independent band. You're doing it all yourself. And it's so much work, to actually get out and do this that, and people don't understand how much work it actually is being in a band, writing the music, doing the promotion, you're doing the tour. You have to do all this stuff that old generic bands used to do, but now you're kind of taking on the role of being your own independent label, essentially, and you have to do all this promotion yourself. So yeah, automating things, that's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, and on that, I mean, this whole tour that we're doing, and the last one when we just went out to LA and did a Weekend Warrior, it's all do it yourself. We're doing the booking, we're finding bands that we like that want to play with us. We're screen printing our own t-shirts.
Oh, you are?
Having fun because we want to share our passion with people. We don't want it to be expensive for them. If they like something, how can we cut costs for them? And and still be able to afford our gas money to get to a show and back home.
Cool. So as far as finding you guys online, everything, just search No Refills on Instagram or Facebook or anything, and then they'll be able to find your music.
Yeah, on Facebook we're No Refills Official. And I think everything else, it's No Refills or No Refills Band.
Just search it.
But we're there. You Google it. You find us. It's easy.
Cool. So, all right, man. So, wait, I got to get this before I let you go really quick. So, you're screen printing your own shirts. Like, how the hell have you been doing that? Who knew that?
It was a mess for a while. Adam will let you know.
So just the process of this, I bought my own screen printing machine like 2 months ago, deciding that we should try to do this ourselves. We can figure it out. Oh no. It's been the biggest pain in the butt that we've ever tried to do. And go out, buy the ink. We've been researching as much as we possibly can, finding artists to help us out and get our designs taken care of. And we were up, night before tour trying to print off our last couple t-shirts?
The 2 nights before tour. Yeah, the 2 nights before tour, we were up till 11, and most of us worked the next day early in the morning. We're my hands actually still have ink on them.
Oh, wow.
And that was almost a week ago?
And the shirts look good. They look, I saw them in the venue. They look professional. They look like any other band that you'd go and buy their shirts. So
our thing with the whole do-it-yourself, we weren't going to put something out there that we wouldn't wear, we weren't proud of. No. And when we started printing, we actually scrapped our first idea and we're like, hey, let's fix this. Let's make this better. And the shirts we have now are what came out of that.
Yeah, we don't need those pity dollars. We just really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I've bought shirts at political rallies. People on the side of things are selling shirts, like Bernie Sanders shirts and stuff. And then you get home, you throw them in the wash, and then boom, it's off. So, I'm sure you guys, your shirts are not going to do that. And how awesome is that? Because people can do that. They do that all the time. They just half-ass it. And then, your fans are getting it. You want them to wear it, and you want them to promote your band.
Yeah, the key is to use real ink there. A lot of people are using these graphic printers now, and they're just printing a design on the shirt, and it starts to flake and peel once you wash it or if you're in the sun. And so, yeah, we found a process where we can avoid that whole thing, and you can wash it several times. It's still good.
Being in the sun.
That was a big fear of doing it ourselves, is this going to last?
Yeah.
If this ink is stuck on Tyler's hands this long, and I'm sure you showered, at least once? At least. It's gonna stay in those shirts.
Well, yeah, you don't get to shower or bathe very much on tour. I'm sure that's how it goes, right? But yeah, you guys don't stink. Not your music doesn't stink, and But fuck yeah, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for doing the podcast and coming on here. Just give me one advice other than the whole printing up your own shirts. What's one thing that you guys done, a DIY thing that's really helped you? Give some advice to another little band. Don't procrastinate.
Yeah, seriously, don't procrastinate.
That's what you learned from doing the screen printing at the very last second.
I live by a big thing, and I guess this is more so for other bands. You're going to play to a lot of empty shows, a lot of empty rooms, and it makes the big ones a lot more fun. So you have to enjoy those small shows.
Yes.
And a big part of do-it-yourself is we play empty rooms here and there. We play full rooms here and there, and we stay consistent. We do the same show. We have just as much fun no matter who's there. Sometimes we just play for ourselves, and that's just as much fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so true, because a lot of people get really discouraged or bummed out if no one shows up. But it's like, you got to do it. You got to put the work in. And that's how you grow as a band. So, dude, congratulations, all you guys, and keep it up. All right.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having us out. It's been fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I'm looking forward to checking you guys out and rocking out. And I'll let you guys go and get in there and get on stage. But
time to party.
But before I let you go, let's check out one more song. Here is Less Than 3 by No Refills.
So here no crap. Gotcha. So here I sit, thinking of you, writing down words that I hope break through. It's not as simple as it seems, it never is. All of a sudden this was like a quiz. It should be as simple as climbing a tree. Do what you wanna do, be with who you wanna be. But you're stuck there and I am here. I'll make it my mission to let you breathe in. I see your smile and I see your face. I hope these words don't seem out of place. I know it's cheesy, but this song's for you. It starts right here on the count of 2. Na 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 na. My awkward laugh is all I have. When I'm with you on my woodtop lap, our time is gone before I think. Now I write this song in this blue ink. You're on my mind every day and night. When I close my eyes, it's a beautiful sight. I feel the pull from the clouds above, like the stars that shine. I know this is love. I see your smile and I see your face. I hope these words don't seem out of place. I know it's cheesy, but this song's for you. It starts right here on the count of 2. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. I see your smile and I see your face. I hope these words don't seem out of place. I know it's cheesy, but this song's for you. It starts right here on the count of 2. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
All right, let's give it up for No Refills and my good friend Adam West. And no, that's not Adam West from the 1960s Batman. That's Adam West, the badass drummer. That's how I always introduce him to people, because people are like, wait, Adam West? Haven't I heard that from Batman or Family Guy or something along those lines? But yeah, so like I was saying in the intro, I've been trying to get them on the podcast for quite a while now, because, you know, I have a lot of old friends who are in bands, and I'm trying to get them on the podcast because I want to feature as many bands and stuff as possible. So that's really, I was really excited to get them featured. And if you dig their music, definitely go check them out. If you're out in Arizona, go give them some support, you know, because that's what we're all about here on the Punk Rock and Politics podcast, is promoting and helping our fellow bands. But there's another thing that I really wanted to do here on the Punk Rock and Politics podcast, and that's the politics aspect of the podcast, you know, because I feel kind of like a hypocritical asshole, to tell you the truth. Here I am, been preaching, getting politically active, and we have to go out and do things. And, I've been lacking. I need to give a little background on myself. I worked on several political campaigns since pretty much, 2008 is really when I got super politically active. I've been involved in the news and researching the news and being literally obsessed with the news and what's going on since 2001. Really, 9/11 is what spearheaded me into down this rabbit hole, I suppose. But it was really the 2008 presidential election with Barack Obama. In 2012, also with Obama, I helped work on part of his campaign, and then also with the 2016 with Bernie Sanders. I phone banked, I went out, I canvassed, I got involved, I hit the streets, I did what I thought would help the country and help my city. So I really kind of feel like a hypocrite, because we can talk about how horrible Trump is or how great another politician is all day until we're blue in the face. But if we don't go and do direct action, nothing's going to change. And I am not here to preach my political ideology. I'm gonna do that. I'm a pinky lefty liberal, but I love talking to my libertarian bands, the anarchist bands, and bands like No Refills, who they're kind of politically neutral. Sure, they have a few ideas, but, I really like the fact, Adam West, he's very, he's pro-gun, and the bassist from Canada, he's not the most pro-gun activist. But look, they're in a band together, and they don't hate each other, and they actually can have civil discussions, and that's what it's all about. And I really would like to preach to the choir, I suppose, or to everyone. If you do believe in a political action or political reform, we got to go out and do it. We have to make things happen. Being in a band, I know it's a lot of work for everyone, but I'm more speaking to the listeners out there. And there's small things that we could do, talking about it and complaining about what's going on. I think that's good. I think that's the start. We're engaging in this dialogue, and we're having an awesome civil discourse from, our far right-wing bands and then all the way to the lefty bands. And that's what I definitely want to hear on the podcast. But I would be a complete hypocrite if I didn't go out and actually do things. And I've been politically active long before I started this podcast. So I recently went out to a campaign stop for Allison Hartson. She's running for Senate, and I did a bonus episode, and I aired it before this episode a few days ago. And I kind of just had it as a little extra episode, so it's about a 30-minute clip, but I didn't really feature any music or anything. It's just the straight campaign stop clips. So of her talking, giving her speech, and kind of giving her policy positions, and then also talking to voters. So I put that out there. If you didn't hear it, I'm going to play a little clip right now. And then definitely, if you are interested in Allison Hartson, who's running for Senate here in California, and she used to be a teacher. So we were talking about the Red for Ed education marches that were happening in Arizona, and they've been taking off all across America. Basically, they're teachers who are fighting for higher wages to try to be able to have, not just their wages, but also to help get better books, better supplies, which is about education and helping our young people to become more educated, which in my personal opinion, I think is a very important issue. We need an educated population to function, and we don't have to. I just don't understand why education has become such a politicized issue. It should be kind of a general issue that we should all support. Is yes, we need educated population. I don't understand why a lot of people are against that. But hey, maybe we'll get a band talking, and in the future we can go more in depth. But I'm going to feature this. It's just a small little clip, so bear with me. If if you can, check it out. Definitely, if you like her, go check her out. If you don't like her, go find a politician that you do support. Find a cause that you can get behind and go and get active. I'm not here to make people, force them to become liberals, although that would be awesome. But I am here to encourage people to get politically active. Because if we just sit back and complain all day long, nothing's going to change, and it's only going to get worse. And being politically active is fucking exhausting. I know, trust me, this doing this podcast, getting out there, getting in arguments with people I don't agree with it's exhausting, but it's something we got to do. It's so important. If we just all put our heads in the sand and just ignore these problems that are going on, or just delete and unfriend people who we don't agree with, it's only going to get worse. This divide that I constantly talk about on the podcast in America is only going to get worse. It's going to get deeper. And we need to have people who are politically active and they actually understand the issues, understand what's going on. And if you can find something that you believe in, go out and work for it, So that's why I need to feature this little segment. If you do like it, go back. You can check out the bonus clip. If not, hey, skip it. It's all good. I won't be mad about it. But let's check out this little clip. And I'm going to play one more song by No Refills at the very end. So I'm going to be playing Taking the Heat by No Refills, because I personally like that song at the very end of the Allison Hartson interview / bonus episode thing. So thanks so much for being a listener of the Punk Rock and Politics podcast. And, without you, the listener, this podcast would be nothing. So thanks so much for all your support. And it's been really cool getting all the interaction with everyone on social media and in real life. I've been meeting a lot of awesome people in real life who listen to the podcast, and I've been talking to people promoting the podcast, and the numbers are going up, and it's awesome that people are actually listening to this podcast, which what the hell. But my number one goal at the end of the day is we gotta get one of these bands famous. So once again, before I let you go, check out No Refills or check out any of the other bands. I have a Punk Rock and Politics, the mixtape. So if you just want to not hear my voice, not hear me talking, go check out one of the Punk Rock and Politics mixtapes. There's 2 of them so far. A new one, I'll be doing a new one soon. And basically, the Punk Rock and Politics mixtape is just a full straight shot, adrenaline shot of all the politics, or none of the politics, just all of the bands, music straight through in order of how they've been featured. So I think those are really fun to listen to. I enjoy putting those together because you really get a eclectic listen of a lot of different types of bands, but the one thing that they all have in common, they're all fucking awesome bands and they're all amazing people, and that's how we're gonna get through this. We're gonna have to see each other as human beings, and we're all fellow people, and we all love punk rock music, and we all want to have fun, and we all need to live together. So go check out the Punk Rock and Politics mixtape and support one of these bands, because that's what this podcast is all about. Getting people politically active and causing social change that you believe in your area, and promoting the fuck out of these bands. So here's a little clip from my bonus episode with Allison Hartson, and then we're going to have No Refills, Taking the Heat, at the very end of the episode. So thanks so much for listening to the podcast, and we'll check you later.
Why did I decide to get involved in this? Because it is crazy. I am jumping into the lion's den. It's because while I was working with Wolfpack, I realized just how entrenched the establishment is. It's not just legislators, it's not just lobbyists, and it's not just ill-intentioned media or journalists. Many of them are just as wrapped up and deceived by the propaganda as the rest of us. It's less of a conspiracy and more of a culture that we have to change. And if we're going to get the policies passed that we need people in office who understand the psychology of human behavior, how all of this really works, so that we can bring people together and talk about how to really, truly solve it.
between. Is it me? My blood is red, what's in my head is all the gray until you turned away. I'm left with blue, cause what you said was true. Why can't I get a clue?
Thanks for checking out Punk Rock and Politics. If you enjoyed the show and the information brought to you, please subscribe and share the podcast. It helps us here at Punk Rock and Politics, but more importantly, it helps the featured bands gain exposure. Also, if you know any bands or musicians who would like to join the political mosh pit and have their music featured on the Punk Rock and Politics podcast, please email us at punkrockandpolitics@gmail.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. And rock on, political junkies.
I think all our society is run by insane people for insane objectives.
Doing a better job of talking to each other. The left hand now knows what the right hand is doing.
Look at those hands. Are they small hands? And he referred to my hands. If they're small, something else must be small. I guarantee you there's no problem. I guarantee it.